Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we are back at it again with another Am I the A-hole Reddit stories reaction. I love doing these and you guys absolutely ate up my last one, so we're gonna do it again. But if you're new, I'm Sky and here I like to do a little bit of whatever inspires me. So if you end up enjoying the video, feel free to like and subscribe, and yeah, let's just get right into the video. Am I the a-hole for telling my coworker that she's not a feminist? I, 35 female, work with Mary, 33 female, and Marvin, 24 male. Fake names, we frequently talk throughout the day and on our group text. This morning, Mary arrived in a bad mood. Her neighbor was blocking her driveway again. She was speaking to Marvin in his office. I was expecting her to call me over to join the conversation as usual. Until then, I was listening from my office. Eavesdropper? Mary said something along the lines of, "He's lucky I don't have a man." I chuckled in my office and said, not a very feminist statement. Not to chastise per se, more of thinking aloud as I'm prone to doing. She exploded. She started screaming that I needed to shut up and butt out of their conversation. That just because I wanted to be manless, lonely, and miserable for the rest of my life doesn't mean that everyone else had to be. Some context, a few days ago, Mary declared that she was a feminist. I chuckled and said she wasn't. Mary makes a lot of comments about needing a man. She delights in her pretty privilege. She calls me a librarian or a church lady because the way I dress isn't sexy enough. She has compared me to a man because I'm tall and often calls me to do man things, like adjust the office central air or open her soda can so she doesn't risk her manicure. She has made comments about how hard it is to be a girl because she has to get her lashes, hair, and nails done all the time, and that I am lucky that I don't have to. Reminder, I am born female. So the idea that she is a feminist while regularly putting me down as a woman was laughable. I went quiet. I'm late diagnosed ADHDer with some autistic traits. I needed to clamp down before my emotions got the better of me and I started to cry. I finally did when they both came into my office to say I was wrong. I made my point that wishing for a man to handle confrontations rather than seeking a civil resolution was not something a feminist would say. She claimed it was sarcasm. I countered that if that were true, she could have clarified that rather than the extremely personal attack she levied. I don't always pick up on sarcasm and take what people say at face value. I'm the type that if you greet me with a "how are you," I give a genuine answer. The truth is I am lonely without a partner and friends who actually get me. Mary loves reminding me that I don't have friends. I'm miserable in a million different ways before I even get to my relationship status. Having her scream that broke something in me and I want an apology. She said what she did to cut me as deeply as she could, while what I said was an observation of her contradiction. True, I probably didn't have to say anything and I was thinking out loud, but her response was just nasty. Am I the a-hole in this? I think this is a situation where absolutely everybody sucks here, because you shouldn't be eavesdropping. You're a grown adult and you shouldn't also be like butting into conversations. Like if you're going to eavesdrop, at least like don't comment and like butt in. That way you don't risk this kind of thing happening, especially when you are going to basically have a confrontation statement of sorts. I do think it was a sarcastic joke in the thing, but like if you're treating another woman this way, I don't think you're a feminist. But like that's a whole different conversation on her end. Like I feel like that's a fundamental like perception issue, or maybe she finds it funny when it's really not. I don't know. But I do feel like she was treating you poorly, but also you shouldn't have butted in and eavesdropped. I feel like that's a very childish thing to do. Maybe eavesdropping because like we're all nosy people, like maybe we do that more often than we want to admit. Butting in and making it obvious that you're doing that and then like making a snarky remark, regardless of how you intended it, it came off in a very like snarky way. So I feel like everybody sucks here. Ooh, the comments are very split between everybody sucks here and you are the a-hole. Everyone sucks here. Mary sounds like a mean girl and is not a feminist. You are correct there. But work isn't the place to have these arguments. Also, you were technically eavesdropping on their conversation. You need to learn to ignore some comments that you don't agree with and to be professional. Everyone sucks here. Number one, for your own sake, respect people's privacy and don't eavesdrop on conversations that have nothing to do with you. It's just a general politeness and respect thing that goes a long way in avoiding situations like this. I agree. Second, Mary shouldn't have exploded at you, but I can understand a negative reaction over a catty comment from somebody you weren't talking to, especially when in a bad mood. Frankly, I'm not sure why you'd consider socializing with her beyond just work-based stuff based off of the fact that she puts you down so much. I feel like there's no age for like bullying to really be okay, but like once you become sentient enough to be an adult, I feel like it needs to be something that's on the out. Beyond that, though, you need to hold yourself accountable for the mistakes that you make, and this situation was instigated by you. The reaction was overblown, but it wouldn't have happened had you taken the time to think before saying anything. I agree, like, it's just like, you didn't need to say it. Like, if you just have the tendency of thinking out loud, it's just like one of those things, like you need to get that under control if you are at this age. Yeah, I somewhat disagree with some of the like you are the a-hole, because I think everyone sucks here. Like I think that Mary does suck in this situation. I don't think that only the OP is the a-hole in this situation. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend that I am too busy to text her? I, 17 female, told my friend, 17 female, that there are simply too many things going on in my life to text her. I admit I'm not the best at keeping up with friendships. I only have a few low-maintenance friends that I keep up with, and I've never had a problem with any of them, and they've never had a problem with me. Basically, for a week, I didn't text her because I'm just stressed out in general from school, and I went to a wedding. In my life, I barely even have time for myself. Strict parents, 5 AP classes, SAT, extracurriculars, etc., etc. And I don't want to spend my only me time texting other people. Anyways, I didn't text her for that week, and she got very, very, very mad at me. So naturally, I asked her why she didn't text me first, and she said that she would never double text. The last thing she sent were 3 sobbing emojis to a funny reel I sent. So I told her my situation and that I'm sorry she feels that way, and she just straight up tells me to make more time and that I'm selfish and self-centered, to only think about myself, and I don't put any effort into my friendships with people, which is very unhealthy. She is right about that. She furthered this by elaborating on how we don't see each other IRL because we go to different schools and it's important to text frequently to maintain a friendship, and she's not falling for all the low-maintenance friend propaganda. I don't know, I feel like I'm ranting, but ultimately I want to know if I'm in the wrong here. I completely get her POV because in reality I do treat my friends poorly and I cancel plans all the time. I barely hang out, I barely text them, but it's just that I'm so dang tired all the time. I'm not depressed or anything, I just feel like most of my energy forms when I spend time with myself. So I really do get her POV, which is why this is so confusing. Then again, I did describe my situation and she didn't understand. Who is in the wrong here? I feel like you're in the wrong here. I feel like she has a very normal expectation for friendships, and like this is the thing where it's like, you can be able to provide a certain amount of energy and like effort towards friendships, right? And that's completely fine, that's completely valid, but don't put yourself in situations with people that want and need more from their relationship. You guys shouldn't be friends because she wants and requires more, and you want and require less, and you're not willing to give more to maintain the friendship. I feel like low maintenance and non-existent are two different things. I feel like what you have are non-existent friendships that just check in every now and again, whereas low maintenance, like I don't think that's this. I also don't really side with the idea of like low maintenance friendships. I feel like those are acquaintanceships, not friendships. I feel like you should be the one where it's like, I cannot provide you this, and like you have a friendship breakup. I feel like that would be more healthy. You are the a-hole. You need to keep in touch with your friends. You admitted to treating your friends poorly. Don't be flaky. It will get you nowhere in life. The OP. I love when the OP responds. It's one of my favorite things. I have very strict parents, hence the reason I can't go out often though. This person replies, right, which is why texting is such a great tool. You even admit in your post that she's right about you isolating being unhealthy. This is something that you can very easily change. A text takes 5 seconds to write and send. That's where I like also find like it really difficult. Like if you don't see somebody, like I do expect a text. You will get what you give. If you drive away all your friends, don't be surprised when nobody is there for you when you need someone. I feel like that's a harsh reality. I agree. She deserves better friends. If you don't want friends, keep this up. What helps is scheduling a time to call them or sending voice memos. I agree. I feel like there's ways to get around it that this person isn't really thinking of because they don't want to. Like I used to know somebody that basically was like this, and they had a lot of responsibilities. Like I understood all of that, but like if you're not doing anything to maintain a relationship, then there is no relationship. And that's something that you need to recognize and understand, because relationships of all kinds, platonic, romantic, whatever, it takes effort and action and initiative from both sides in order for it to be maintained in a fruitful way. Am I the a-hole for getting offended after my friends met up without me? This is my first time on Reddit, so I hope I got the gist of this. I, a 16-year-old male, go to a dorm school. The benefits are that I spend a lot of time with my friends. We're together essentially 24/7, and we're all very close. The downside is that when school's not going on, it's very hard to meet up. We live very far from each other, and meeting up is essentially a whole event when we do it. Today there was no school, so we decided that the close friend group would meet up. I invited them the night before to come to my house, but this morning they ended up canceling on me. I was fine since I totally understand. It's pretty annoying to go home, then to a friend's house, then back home, and I typically cancel on people a lot, so I was chill. Okay, good, healthy. Later we were talking in the group chat about meeting up in another friend, let's call him Steve's house. This was around 1 o'clock. I was initially on board, but then I realized it'd take me about 3 hours to go to Steve's, meaning I'd get there around 4:30. So I said I'd rather not. Steve kind of agreed with me. The third friend, let's call him Ethan, was kind of pushing the meetup, but Steve and I agreed, along with Ethan, that we'd meet up the next day, and that we wake up early so that we have the whole day together. That's honestly so cute and wholesome to be like, we'll wake up early so we can spend the whole day together. 4 hours later, I got a video call from Steve, and it's Ethan. Ethan drove to Steve's house to meet up with him and then invited a couple of other friends as well. Ethan told me to come too, but I told him that I can't since I get there around 10 o'clock and that we agreed to meet up the next day. Steve kind of took my side and said that he didn't really know about it until a half hour before and that I can meet up with them tomorrow. I frankly got really offended. I felt like I was totally ignored and disregarded. Also, since Ethan's at Steve's house right now, it's going to make the chances of them meeting up with me tomorrow much lower. Anyway, Reddit, am I the a-hole for getting really offended and angry, or is this just dumb teenager drama? If they are still down to hang out with you tomorrow, then it's not really much of a problem. Like, yeah, people are going to hang out without you sometimes if you can't make it to things. Like, it's not going to prevent them from wanting to go to some place. Like, if they're like, oh, I want to go to this one place for dinner, like, do you guys want to come? And like everybody can come except for one person, they're still going to go without you. So like, I feel like that's completely fine. Maybe you were a little bit out of the loop, but I don't think this is like a huge issue. I don't think that they were doing anything to like intentionally hurt you. And at the same time, you were invited. So it's just like you weren't able to come. So you were just like maybe a little bit out of the loop on like, oh, they're still gonna go regardless. So like you found out through the video somehow. Like, I feel like that maybe is the thing that like upset you, is just like being out of the loop, but I don't think anybody did anything to like intentionally hurt this person. You are the a-hole. You were invited and chose not to go. How is that people making plans without you? And then the OP replied, I see your point and you're probably right, but I do want to clarify that we all agreed that we end up meeting tomorrow instead. It's not that I don't get why they did it. I just feel like going to Steve's house 4 hours later without even updating me is a little hurtful, especially since it means Ethan won't be able to come 2 days in a row to meet up with the friends who live very far. Then this person replied to the OP, you were given exactly the same opportunity to hang out with your friends. Them calling you to invite you is not the same as them calling you to rub it in your face that they are having a good time without you. Yeah, okay, so like the OP's problem is that like, since they chose not to go to the hangout tonight and everybody else did, their likelihood that they are going to be able to hang out again the next day with him present is a lot lower. And like, I understand that, but that's just like the effects of like your own choice. I don't think it's something you can get mad at your friends over. You can be frustrated at the situation of like, oh, well, I wish that I lived closer, so like, you know, this wouldn't have been a problem. Or like, oh, I wish that we maybe like made these plans earlier so I could have made the drive there at a reasonable time. But I feel like you're not the a-hole since you haven't done anything. But like, out of the two options, like I do think you are the a-hole. Out of not being the a-hole, I feel like you're more so overreacting than being an a-hole. Am I the a-hole for grounding my daughter? So for context, I co-parent. We have 50-50 custody. So my daughter 11 failed not one class but 2 classes when school was finished. Now earlier in the school year, me and her mom sat down with her and explained that she can't fail any classes if she wants to continue to do cheer. That's very valid. Like a lot of schools actually enforce that in high school and such. These last 2 months, she got all of her grades up besides 2. So once again, we spoke with her and said, hey, this grade has to come up. So school finishes in those 2 grades. She has an F in one and a D in the other. So because of this, I took her out of cheer. After I took her out of cheer, she tried to say that it was the teacher's fault that she failed. But when looking at her grades for those classes, most of the tests and homeworks were mostly Fs and a few good grades sprinkled in. So I explained to her that the teacher can't fail you if you aren't doing the work correctly. So mom is on our daughter's side of this, saying the teacher and whatever. So because I took her out of cheer, she blocked my phone number on her phone. So in retaliation, I suspended her phone line. I paid the bill for the phone, so her mom goes out and buys our daughter a new phone. Now they are trying to blame me, saying I wasn't helping her with her homework. To be fair, I did take the blame for this, mostly due to the time I work. I work a swing shift job, so I'm never home when our daughter is out of school. I mostly hang out with her on the weekends and Monday afternoons since I'm off on Saturdays to Monday. However, her mom is home by 4 p.m. the latest and spends majority of the week with her, but yet somehow I'm being blamed for the bad grade. So that's just the beginning. More has happened since this, but this is the basic part of the story. So am I the a-hole? I think you are the a-hole. Like, you are literally the adult. You're acting immature by being like, oh, in retaliation of my 11-year-old daughter like blocking me on her phone, I'm gonna cut her line, instead of making a little bit more effort to like help the situation and like, okay, come to an agreement and all of this stuff, because she is 11. Okay, so the one time she blocks you, you're going to cut her phone line. I understand it being like a little frustrating, but you still have contact with the mom. If the mom isn't helping, then she's also part of the problem. But like, you're the adult, you're supposed to not just like point blame on her. Maybe she's just not understanding something. Get her a tutor. Like, get in contact with the teacher. Why is she failing? Like, look into it. You're the adult, you're the parent, you have 50% custody. You are a parent of this child. You need to look into why she is failing and actually try to like make effort to help her. If you can't help her individually at the kitchen table crying over math homework, if you can't teach her in that way, maybe look into a tutor, or like like more affordable tutoring options. Like there's a lot of online options too. So yeah, I think you're the a-hole because you're not doing enough. I feel like maybe also the mom is also the a-hole in this too, because if she has the kid for more days during the actual school week than you do, to where she's probably seeing more of her kid's homework, then she also needs to be putting in this level of effort, because you can punish somebody all you want, but it's not going to help teach them the things that they are not understanding. Did either parent contact a teacher during the year to find out why your daughter was struggling and offer any assistance? If you expected an 11-year-old to bring up their grades without some guidance, you are the a-hole. Exactly. If my kid was failing, the first thing I would do is contact the teacher and help my daughter get a plan in place to improve. OP replied to that with, yes, we did talk to the teacher. He stated she just wasn't trying. It's the class she doesn't want to be in, but her mom insists on her being at that school. It's a dual language school, and the classes she's failing in are both in Spanish. She doesn't want to learn Spanish and doesn't speak it. Her mom does. This person replied, so you might have found the problem. Punishing her won't help. Is your daughter bilingual? If not, this might simply be too hard. Just isn't trying is a lame excuse regarding an 11-year-old for her teacher. She is being told to learn this by her mom. Like, I do think that bilingual households, it's very important for the child to also be bilingual. There's a lot of studies on like the importance of that. So I think that's a very important thing to have your kid do. They might not like it initially, but I'm sure they would like appreciate it later on in life. Yeah, I feel like tutoring is like the only thing that would really help in this situation, just to like get the grade up so she can possibly do cheer again and get ungrounded, and just in general so she can have like the classes be passed. Am I the a-hole for canceling a trip with my parents to instead go with my friends? Hi, for context, I, 18 female, graduated a few weeks ago and will be starting uni in another city like 5 hours away in September. I was part of our school's theater club, and since 5 of us were graduating this year, we decided to throw a goodbye weekend getaway at one of our guys' cottage. After much talking and thinking, on Monday it came out that the only possible date is the last weekend in June. However, here comes the problem. I already had a weekend trip planned with my parents at exact date since February. You had prior engagements though. Like maybe like if tickets weren't bought, this would be a conversation, but if tickets were already bought, which they probably were, since you had this plan since February, I don't see, like, this isn't even a discussion that would have happened in my house. Here's where I might be the a-hole. After many thoughts, I decided I'd rather go to the getaway with my friends than go on the trip with my parents. My reasons are that we just won't be able to get together during the summer holidays, and I have no idea how often I'll come back home to visit after starting uni. Therefore, how often am I going to see them? These really might be the last moments we get to spend together, and I want to make the most out of it. As for the trip with my parents, we already have other trip plans over the summer holidays. Plus, we have already talked about them coming to visit me every now and then in case I won't be able to make it home. Okay. I told my mom about this the same day we set the date, to which she just said that it's up to me to decide what I want more, and honestly never really outright said how she feels. On the other hand, I told my dad, who planned the whole trip, on Wednesday, and it went right about how I expected. He got really mad at me. I'm a bit confused because all he said or asked was if I would pay my share of the trip, Airbnb and tickets, which I said I would. I was counting with that when I made the decision, to which he said, oh, so you're just throwing money around. Honestly, I might not even have to. I asked my aunt whether she wanted to go instead of me, and she said she'd think about it, so we'll see. Also, he murmured something about me wanting to be everywhere, but I didn't hear him clearly, so I don't know. He ended the conversation without giving me much space to explain my side. He just said that at the end of the day, I'm an adult already and I can make my own decisions. Then he gave me the silent treatment these past few days, something he does when he gets upset with me or my mom. Well, today he was talking with me more, but he was really passive-aggressive about everything I did or didn't do. And he didn't mention anything about the trip. Now I'm just really conflicted about how I feel and what to do. All of my friends I've talked to about this, including those not involved, said that I'm not the a-hole, but I can see where I am. I mean, I'm putting my friends before my parents, and I'm suddenly canceling on a long-planned trip. Honestly, at this point, I'm just more sad, upset about the whole situation with my dad. I get that, I hurt his feelings, but he could also try to see my side. I just fear that he won't do so, and also that he thinks I made this decision on a whim. I really didn't, so am I the a-hole? I think you are the a-hole. I feel like the silent treatment from your dad, like, it's just a little immature. Like, sometimes, like, requiring space from situations is completely okay, but, like, day-long silent treatments I never really support. But I do think you are the a-hole in this, because, like, you had this plan for a while with your parents, and then you're going to cancel it. Like, even though it's not, like, you made this decision on a whim, it's last minute for them. And it's great that you're willing to pay it, and, like, maybe your aunt can go instead, but it's, like, a getaway with your kid. Like, you had this plan before. Like, this realistically isn't going to be the only time you're going to see these friends. If you guys are actually friends, you guys will be able to make time for each other. You are being hurtful. I understand you're an adult and can make your own decisions, but 4 months ago, you planned a family vacation, which they have paid for, and you have canceled last minute for what you consider a better opportunity. That's hurtful. That's not mature. That's not good adulting. They have been looking forward to this for months, and it's your last hurrah with your parents before college. Of course, you can do whatever you want, but your dad's allowed to feel hurt that you cancel on him last minute and chose other people. You are the a-hole. This person replied to that person, the OP clearly states that there are other trips during the summer with their parents, so it's not their last hurrah with their parents before college. I agree, but it's like, whether it's the last hurrah or not, like, it's the, like, you plan this beforehand. It's the first thing, like, that has priority. This person said something. You are the a-hole. The only weekend that was possible was not a weekend that was possible. And then this person responded, yeah, and the theater friends picked the one weekend OP couldn't come. I think that says something about how much the group cares about OP. I think it sort of does, but also it could not. Like, it could just be like, this is the only day that works for everybody else. Like, is this okay? Like, are you able to work around it? Sometimes that is what happens. Would I be the a-hole if I told my friend I didn't want to mix friend groups? So some context. I've known my friend, 21 female, let's call her Molly, since we were in 6th grade. Our contact was a little blurry during the pandemic, but now that we have studied together, we've been talking nonstop. I'm on the more introverted side, while she is a total extrovert. We have different friend groups, but since I love my friends getting along, I introduced her to all of mine very early on. Now, the problems I suppose started at the end of our first year as students. I wanted to get together in a big group to play some board games, so I proposed that she invites her friend group, which I was acquainted with. We were in the same lab. But she said, I don't want to mix friend groups, and that was that. It stuck with me a little bit, but this year I've been considering if we are even friends anymore. She tells me constantly about her plans with her group, but never extends the invite, even though I do. She even said on multiple occasions that we were just acquaintances. It just didn't click for me. Oh, that's so sad. A few breaking points for me include her saying she's throwing a New Year's Eve party, but I couldn't come. I feel like that's unnecessary to be like, oh, I'm throwing this party, but you can't come. I feel like that's just like a little rude. Accepting an invitation from my best friend to a wedding, fine by itself, and talking about it to me, knowing it upset me since they barely know each other through me, and she got invited because we were in an argument with my best friend. I feel like this is something where, like, I would have stopped talking to this person, like, with the first thing that happened here. Taking no side when a guy from our group kicked me out of a club because I was inactive due to a broken leg, saying she doesn't interfere between acquaintances while she complains about him constantly. The not taking a side thing was actually the one where I distanced myself from her. But the reason I want to be a little mean like that is a bit different. My mom is having a brain surgery in a week and I want to be there with her. We were discussing exam dates and Molly proposed the exact date of the surgery. It's fine because she didn't know, but then I proceeded to tell her and she just didn't care and said she was going to choose a date like everyone else that suited her best. And that made me done with her. Even some people I barely know said they'd be happy to choose another day, no problem, but she specifically said the alternative date didn't suit her because she was going to be tired. So I've decided to do what she likes to do. Tell her about a weekend party at my grandpa's lake house and how it's going to be so fun, and when she inevitably asks when it's going to be, thinking she's invited, I tell her that, oh no, she's not. I don't want to mix friend groups. That's the plan, but I feel like it's very mean and not my style, and I'm not sure it would give me the satisfaction I think it would, burning some sort of bridge between us. So would I be the a-hole to do that, or should I stay silent about this party? Quick edit for clarification. She goes back and forth between calling me her friend and acquaintance. That's why it didn't click. I understand people are allowed to have their own friends, but I talk to people from her friend group. They're not people I don't know. A year ago, we had much better contact, but she didn't want us to. That's what I'm getting at. Other than that, I do recognize that it's childish. That's partly why I made this post. Thank you for the good advice. I'm talking from the heart. Additionally, I do not hate her. I'm just actively hurt by her behavior. I think you should hate her. This is like hurtful behavior. She's not nice to you, regardless if she's calling you her friend or not, regardless if you have good conversations with her or not. If she's just like going out of her way to be like overtly rude to you by saying like, oh, you're not invited to this, or like not standing up for you, you guys aren't friends. And you need to stop thinking that you are, because like it's just going to be a constant back and forth. Personally, I would love to see how that would play out. But I do think that realistically, it's something where it's just like, just stop talking to her. And then if she finds a problem with that, then have a conversation with her. Because like, I really don't think that this is something where you need to try to have a conversation with, because I don't think that this friendship is worth salvaging. You know, I think you would be the a-hole just because it would be petty. It doesn't take away from the fact that she's doing like rude things to you, the best thing to do is to cut her off. This isn't really a-hole behavior so much as it is just incredibly childish. This isn't going to make you feel better about how the friendship has gone. Just stop wasting your energy on her and move on. It sounds like you are stuck in a grade school mindset. I don't introduce all of my friends to each other. You would be the a-hole though because you've already mixed with her friend group, plus you clearly think she is the a-hole for doing it to you. If you don't like the terms of your relationship, then change them by having a conversation with her about it or discontinuing the friendship. And then the OP replied, I think it's different if you actively talk to these people, but she doesn't want you to because they're her people. I feel like Molly is one of those people where it's just like she needs to be in control of like everything to do with like her world, including like her friends and like who talks to who and like whatever. I think it's completely valid to like not want to introduce all of your friends to all of your other friends and like whatever. Like, I don't need to know all of my friends' friends and I don't need them to know all of my friends. Like, it's completely fine. Like, it's not something that is like a requirement among your friends. And like, sometimes it's just like you want to like have specific dynamics whenever you're with certain people. And I do think that like certain people do change dynamics and whatever, but like, I don't know, I like all of my friends, so like if they all were to mix, I wouldn't mind that, but it's not a requirement. You don't need to. So I think it's valid to not want to always mix friend groups, but sometimes there's that person where it's just like they need to control everybody in their life just because they want to control their ecosystems when like other people should be able to make friends with people if they want to. Like if OP wanted to become friends with like Molly's friends, then she has every like right to. I don't know, I feel like the way Molly is doing it is like trying to send a signal, but she's trying to like keep that friendship alive. I feel like she's just very fake, if I'm being honest, but the OP needs to wake up to that. Anyways, that is all of the Am I the A-hole stories that I have for you today. If you want more Am I the A-hole, I'm going to put them down below, like I said. Yeah, if you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe if you want to see more from me. If you want to see more Am I the A-hole, please let me know. You guys really ate up my last one. I plan on doing a few more Reddit-based ones, but from other forums, so subscribe if you want to see those. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.